It's the kid, guys. What up, man? It's your main man here, Double H Half Up, man. Guys, welcome here to this live show. It's going to be a very good show here. And I think, you know what? We see now, initially, let's just, this were the topics I actually had at hand was, of course, look at Jovic signing for Real Madrid. Loftus-Cheek obviously getting injured. And obviously Griezmann and where he's going to fit in for Barcelona. But I think since then, some big news has actually dropped since then. I think we have to talk about Allegri. Allegri going to be leaving Juventus at the end of this season. That's huge. What does that mean? Who do Juventus now pick after thinking goes away? Yo, guys, what up? And we have to talk about Casillas. Casillas, obviously, he had his heart scare. Thankfully, he actually recovered from his heart scare, and he's decided that based on that episode, he's now decided to pretty much retire from football. So again, just because I want to do a Casillas video particularly, but I just think that I just want to really just comment on it just to begin with, just of him retiring, look at his career just in a very basic way, then really in a video go into detail. Then maybe talk a bit about Santi Cazorla, amazing comeback. He's now back into the Spanish national squad when he was told he was never going to play football again. I think that's an amazing comeback story. But I think, look, man, we must just start off with the biggest news and really the main news to start off with, just of course, is Jovic. So Real Madrid have made their first official big major signing of the transfer window. Luka Jovic, the Frankfurt man, he is going to be joining. Let me just grab my thingy ready. He is going to be joining Real Madrid, and I believe it's on a 60 million euro deal. So we sort of covered this on Hope Meets Banter, and I think there are many different ways to sort of view this because what does this mean for Benzema? Can Jovic handle the pressure? Does the fact that you've done it in Frankfurt and Germany mean that you can do it in Real Madrid and in the Champions League? So these are all the different elements that I really want us to try and pretty much break down into. So I just want to view this summary. Okay, no, continue using the site because I want to look at this dude's stats. Okay, no, you know what? I think let me, because I always use who's scored. Beautiful. That's what we need. So Bundesliga, we have 24 appearances, 17 goals, 5 assists. In the Europa League, he's made Europa League, 11 appearances, 10 goals, 1 assist. Now, that is very impressive. So, I think really, off the bat, remember, guys, I always say this all the time. If you want to help and support the Football Hut, use the Super Chat. The Super Chat is what I will be looking at to always read your comments out. I will give you a shout out. Those comments get priority over the comments in the main window. I will try and view the comments in the main window. And the Super Chat is what helps support your boy Double H. So if you want to get a comment out, make a comment, show your support, ask me a question, use the Super Chat. I will answer it immediately. So let's talk Jovic. Let's talk Jovic now. For me, I think that it is very telling Real Madrid going in for Jovic. Because the reason why this is interesting is because of the Benzema. Now, if let's say, for instance, Pochettino was the manager, and he went out and he bought Jovic 100,000%. That would mean that Benzema's career at Real Madrid is done. Well, most definitely as a starter. But why this is very particular is I know that Zidane is backing Benzema. And Zidane believes in Benzema. And Zidane hasn't given up on Benzema. And Benzema still has a very important role to play under Zidane. Now, I've always felt that, Benzema's days are done at Real Madrid, and people need to stop using this whole Champions League argument. Oh my gosh, Benzema is the 4th highest scorer in the Champions League. So, who cares? Who cares whether he's the 4th highest scorer in the Champions League? Which teams has he scored those goals against? Hapoel Tel Aviv Rosenborg? Please tell me. So it's, as of right now, in 2019, are you going to call Benzema an elite striker? No, you won't. He can be elite. He can have a good game. But over the course of a season, are you going to put him in the same category as a Sergio Aguero or a Harry Kane? No, you won't. No, you won't. No, you will not. So that's what for me, I think that Real Madrid, they don't really need a Benzema. They need to really move on from a Benzema. Let me just move this up a bit slightly. Let's move on from him. But the issue now is this. Let's just put ourselves in the mindset of Zidane. If Jovic is coming in, are you telling me that it's going to be a strike partnership of Jovic and Benzema? Or is it going to be a case where he's going to play Benzema a bit deeper and Jovic is going to be a bit higher? Or is it going to be a case where Jovic is going to play a bit deeper and Benzema higher? Because when I was looking at Frankfurt's play against Chelsea, I think Jovic sort of, it seemed as if he was actually playing in the hole. Because remember, he wears the number 8 shirt, and the funny thing is that he may be a striker, but he actually plays a bit like a number 8, and I think he isn't like just a solely lone striker. So could it be a case where it's going to be one up top and one or just in behind? Is it going to be a case where they're a strike partnership? Or, which is what I don't think it'll be, are you going to get a guy like Luka Jovic, spend all that money, and he's going to be like an understudy to Benzema, learning off Benzema, and he'll be coming off the bench? I strongly doubt it. I really believe that Jovic is the starter. So I don't know how that's going to work, but I think those are the possibilities. Strike partnership, one up top, one behind, or maybe he comes in as an understudy. The only thing that's not going to happen is Benzema going to hold the bench, because we all know how close Zidane is to Benzema. Now we look at Jovic in particular. Real Madrid is not Frankfurt. Let's just put that out there. Real Madrid isn't Frankfurt. It's not. I appreciate what this guy has done for Frankfurt, but as I was discussing it with We Are Tottenham boys on this week's episode of Hope Meets Banter, one season. Is one season enough to say now this guy is that dude for Real Madrid? Because remember, if we look at Aguero, we look at Harry Kane, some people will throw in Immobile in there as well. Some people will throw in Edinson Cavani. These guys have been shifting G's for numerous seasons. You know, they've been shifting G's for numerous seasons. So once you've been shifting G's for numerous seasons, that shows a consistency that, you know, this isn't just a flash in the pan. So Jovic needs to understand that this is a massive step up. I'm happy for it. I'm happy that he's coming, that he's been able to win such a high-profile move. Because remember, like, this came out of nowhere. Because remember, Jovic was on Chelsea's radar. I believe I never really saw Real Madrid Jovic. I never really saw that. That was never a thing that really came through. So it is amazing that he won himself that role. But my thing about this is, from what I've seen of him, like, game against Chelsea, 2 very well taken goals. I'm going to give him that, 2 very well taken goals. You see, I see a natural goal scorer there. Let's just deal with Real Madrid right now. Real Madrid do not have a natural goal scorer in the team. It's a funny thing. So I know that, look, Loftus-Cheek and Solari have to take a lot of the blame and so forth based on their tactics. But the only benefits of that I would give them is that they had a team where they didn't have a natural goal scorer. They didn't have a guy who really had that natural eye for a goal. Benzema was a natural goal scorer when he was back in his Leon days and his early Real Madrid days. For the past 3, 4, 5 seasons, I cannot call Benzema a natural goal scorer. I can't. He's a good footballer. A smart football player. I can call him a natural goal scorer. But I think in Jovic, what you have is a guy who he is naturally adept at being a goal scorer. And I think that is obviously a great improvement that Real Madrid can work on. But my thing about it is, can this dude handle the pressure? Can he handle the weight? Because you will now be the starting striker. You're following the footsteps of Raul, of Ronaldo, Van Nistelrooy, Cristiano Ronaldo, a lot of these top high market guys. And even when you look at those guys, I mean, Ronaldo wasn't really that prolific when he was a striker. I think really Real Madrid's last great striker was Raul. But again, Raul is one of the biggest Real Madrid legends there are out there. So I think for Jovic, I do have my reservations because as good as those 2 goals he scored for Frankfurt, as good as his goal return is, it's people, especially in today's world, people are very quick to hype up people. They're so quick. A guy can have like a run of 5-6 games and like, oh my gosh, this guy's amazing, this guy's the best thing ever. I'm like, what? And that happens so many times. As in, people are so desperate to really put guys at this huge, massive pedestal without them really earning their stripes. Like you see, Kane and Aguero have earned their stripes. While they're in their stripes, they've been doing it for multiple seasons. They've done it for multiple seasons. But let's look on the upside. If Jovic can carry his excellent goal scoring form for Frankfurt, especially in the Europa League, into Real Madrid, I think that is a massive boost. Because again, if we're not going to assume that Hazard is going to get the role, so you have a front three, and I think people in someone in the comments below, Hazard, Vinicius, Jovic, or Hazard, beast mode, Jovic. That's interesting. That is interesting. And then you have to now think for Zidane, okay, where does Benzema, because Benzema is around. I find it hard to believe that Zidane is just going to whisk away Benzema away. But although, let me be real. As much as I think that Zidane loves Benzema, maybe Zidane buying Jovic is a message to Benzema saying, you know what, Karim, I love you, you're my guy, I support you, but you need some competition. You need to look over your shoulder. And if you're not really giving me what I need, I'm going to put in Jovic. Because as much as Zidane loves Benzema, I think that what comes beyond that is trying to win La Liga. Trying to wrestle off the domination that Real Madrid have. And trying to get that Champions League crack up and going. That's also what this dude definitely needs. So, our first super chat of the day. Let's thank you very much, Josh Bourne. Thank you very much for the super chats, bro. Let me brighten up the screen, man. Where the heck is my... Okay, there we go. So, but yeah, look, before I just get to the super chat, just to really I'll come back on it. I mean, so Jovic's buy maybe is a message to Benzema, because trust me, once that news broke, one of the names trending was Zidane. Sorry, one of the names trending was Benzema. So Zidane is maybe saying, you know what, I'm bringing in Jovic in just to say for Zidane, you're not going to have to earn your right to be in this team. It is no longer your birthright to be in this team. You're no longer holding down a spot, because I think Zidane buying Jovic already putting in the purchase, that's also even going into the off-season, it will not even reach June yet, is 1000% a statement of intent that we have our goal-getter right now. We're trying to close up Zad. I am amassing my players, because I think, as Zidane said, he was only going to take this job if he was promised the players and the assets needed to try and win the league. Because I do believe that, of course, Real Madrid will always go for the Champions League, but I think one of their main priorities is that La Liga crown. And I think what Zidane wants to do in his tenure is regain control back of Spain. You know, take Spain back from the Catalan dominance that Barcelona have had. Because Barcelona are going into the next season as favourites. Because as long as they have Messi, they'll be favourites. And we don't even know who Barcelona are going to be bringing in. We'll obviously get a Griezmann afterwards. But yeah, so let me just look at this. So super chats from Josh Bourne, 499. Thank you very much for the super chats, Josh Bourne. So Josh Bourne says, yeah, I think it is too soon to buy him, but Real have to show the fans that they mean business after that utter crap season. Yeah, thank you very much for the super chats, Josh. But remember, any guys, if you want to send in your questions or your comments, use the super chats. I will read those out. So for Josh, I don't think primarily this purchase was done to appease the fans. Primarily, I don't think it was. I do believe that this was probably a target that Real Madrid had for quite a while. So, and I think that Zidane, remember, even when Solari was coach, I'm sure Zidane was even vetted as being the coach. And I think Zidane, before he came in, he was like, I know what I want. And these are the targets that I need. I think Jovic, and I think one of the main areas he wanted was, of course, a marquee star, magical player in a Zad and a natural goal scorer in a Jovic. And I think, as you say, okay, I'm sure the fans that they mean business as well. But yeah, but the thing about this is that 1000%, I think, this has been a pretty horrible season for Real Madrid. Really bad. A lot of losses, a lot of embarrassments. And I think you definitely want to show a statement of intent. I think Jovic is a smart buy, but it isn't the kind of purchase that's going to give Real Madrid fans like amazing hope going into next season. Because I think for fans, they're like, okay, well, he's done well at Frankfurt, but Jovic isn't Kane. He's into Aguero. Like, if Real Madrid announced Sergio Aguero, then that is a massive statement of intent. So you see, signing Aguero is we mean business. We mean business. You see, if Real Madrid end up signing Zad, that is we mean business, because these guys are known on the world stage. Jovic isn't known on the world stage. This guy has only just come off onto the block. Hence why it's an interesting signing, because when you think of Real Madrid, Van Nistelrooy was known when they bought him. Ronaldo was known when they bought him. Raul, we already know who Raul was. So they've always bought guys who are very well done. Jovic has only started making a name for himself. So you would have assumed that, okay, he's going to maybe spend another season at Frankfurt. And because even when Barcelona were even looking at Jovic, even I was surprised. Wait, why Barcelona looking at Jovic? But yeah, it has been a crap season, and I think that put it this way. The signing shows Zidane's plan. I think that is where I think it can sort of give Madrid fans hope, which is that, okay, this is we're looking in long term here. We have a plan here, and because remember, let's just keep it real. We may have viewed Jovic off the block and everything because we don't watch Frankfurt every day. These clubs have scouts. Okay, these clubs have scouts, and they have guys who their job is to go to these clubs and to watch these players every single day, watch them every single day, and watch all of their matches and get tips on them. So, for a club of the stature of Real Madrid, and them knowing how important this summer is, that's the key thing. They know the importance of this summer based on what was a terrible season. I really believe that they would have really done their homework on Jovic. They'd have really gone into serious, intense detail as to who he is, what he's about, and how lethal he can be. So again, so look, man, so that is the Jovic story there. We'll also get down to it. And look, man, it's exciting because the transfer season has begun already. I believe that Real Madrid will become the most active, and I think Real Madrid will be making the most moves in the summer because they have to. But I think what this is that, the transfer dealings have begun, and already we can now start saying how well will this player do. And I think already now seeing a new Real Madrid take shape. This should have really happened last summer, because again, we just go back to Perez. How do you lose a player like a Cristiano who has such a profound effect on your team, and you don't replace the dude with anyone of note? How do you do that? That makes no sense. So, briefly on this topic before we go to another really major topic, Loftus-Cheek. Apparently Chelsea played a team called New England. New England or Old England. I don't know what the hell that's called. So, you're telling me here that, and I think I'm hearing the boys in the chat, I will talk about the Brazil, very briefly, the Brazil Copa America squad, especially the goals who couldn't get picked. So Loftus-Cheek is injured. I think it's a ruptured Achilles, and he could be out for 5. I had 5 to 6 months. That is disgusting. And to tell you that I am sickened is an understatement. Because, first thing, who even greenlit him to play? That's the first thing. Who actually allowed him to play in a meaningless... Why are you playing a friendly towards the end of the season? For what? So maybe the whole thing was like, oh, okay, like we're just trying to get him fit and fine-tune him out of the Europa League final. But that's too risky. Okay, that is too risky. If he's going to get injured in the Europa League final. Don't get injured against bloody Middle England or Falls or whoever the hell that you got. So I've got to put that on Sarah, because Sarah, you call the shots. What made you think that it was a good idea for a player who you know is not even fully fit to go out and play a meaningless friendly? If he used to be injured, let him get injured in the Europa League final. Let him get injured in the Europa League final. So I can only feel for Loftus-Cheek and just how disappointed he is for him personally that he won't be playing in such a major final. I mean, that is just horrible. I can barely imagine just how angry he must feel. But with regards to how it affects Chelsea, put it this way. If N'Golo Kante can't make that final, Chelsea are screwed. Chelsea may need to consider the forfeits rule. The only reason why they shouldn't fully invoke the forfeits rule is that Zad is still there. But if Chelsea are rolling into a game against Arsenal without N'Golo Kante and Loftus-Cheek, two vital midfield players, I mean, Arsenal are in a very strong position. They're in a very strong, powerful position. And it just makes things extremely complicated for Chelsea. So that is horrible news. That is horrible news, because it's not only a huge setback for Chelsea in the Europa League final. It's also a huge setback for Loftus-Cheek, who would have been played in the Euro Leagues. And I think that means that he won't really be able to maybe start even the beginning of the season. And I think what I hope isn't the case with Loftus-Cheek. I just hope that he isn't one of those players who just has the injury issues plaguing him. Again, I've always said, if Marco Reus didn't have all of those injuries, maybe Dortmund win a league and he'd have a World Cup medal to his name. So that's just there. So let's just go to Griezmann now. Antoine Griezmann to Barcelona. So this isn't confirmed yet, but people in the news have been referring that to Antoine Griezmann is potentially going to be joining Barcelona. As we well know, we talked about this before. He's left Atletico Madrid, a move that he had to make, and I commented on that on the video that I did. And it's not about, as he said in the statement, chasing new challenges, new club, new role. Stop hiding in that cocoon that was Atletico. Because people will say that, would you rather be the king of a ditch or a servant in a castle? That's the dilemma, of him being in Atletico, him being potentially in Barcelona. But I think, times have changed. And I think, what Griezmann has seen is that Atletico are not really going anywhere, And the departure of Godin, I think that is that was a major signal that, all right, I think we need to rethink my future and what I do and how I'm about to roll here, So, Barcelona. Now, remember, guys, to support the channel, if you wanted a comments to be read out, use the super chats. Use the super chats. I'm always looking at the super chats. Use the super chats, and I'll be able to respond to any comments you have, and that's the way you can help to support the channel. I believe Griezmann fits into the Barcelona system 100%. I believe that Griezmann is who they wanted from Coutinho. That's who they wanted. Because the way in which Griezmann plays, because I said it in my video, he's an intelligent player and his decision making is very good. because again, he wasn't the star of that French team that won the World Cup, but he was very important for them. And I think that's what Griezmann is, and I think this just reiterates what I said in my video. He's not a superstar. You can't build your team around Griezmann. He's not a guy that's going to pretty much lead your team and pretty much spearhead your team. You can't make him the face of your team. Like, that's not going to work. But what he is a very important piece to your team because he understands his role and he plays his role very well. Because I think, what Messi needs is someone to play off of him and really to be able to be on the same wavelength as him. Because if you look at the issue that Barcelona had, especially coming off the tail end of the season, the only person on Messi's wavelength was a flipping left back. Like, the only guy that was really in tandem with him was Jessica Alba. The Cannibal was trash, and Coutinho has been a complete and utter flop. 1000% flop. Like, I think anybody that comes out and tells me that Coutinho was anything other than a flop is, you don't know football. You either don't know football or you're a Coutinho fanboy. So you're dealing with two bricks. That's what Messi was dealing with. He was dealing with two bricks who are on the front line of your team. But I think what Griezmann gives you is, Griezmann is very consistent. He's not going to give you a 10. Maybe give you a 9. Rarely will he drop below a 7. He'll always give you that 7, 8, 7, 8, 7, 8. Whereas that Coutinho will give you like a 3, a 2, maybe like an 8, but mostly a 2 or a 3. Most of the season for the Cannibal, sometimes will give you an 8, probably a 5, a 4, 4, 5, and so forth. So I think that, Barcelona getting Griezmann, I think, similar to Jovic, I think that's a very smart buy. I think that's a buy that would work very well for the team. Because you bring him in there and you have Messi, Griezmann, and Dous. That's a pretty interesting front three because that front three, I liken it to the front three of Pedro, Villa, and Messi. But the only issue is that with that front three there, because again, like people will ask, okay, they need a tall guy and so forth. Pedro, Villa, Messi were all pretty short, and the way that they played it was the ball was always on the ground. The ball was never hit high up aerially. But I think the missing that David Villa was still a striker. A ball-playing striker, was great on the ball, could easily have played at number 10, but he was definitely a striker. You see, a player that would be really good for Barcelona is Lacazette. Funny, because when I was actually, and like, I think there's like a thing going on Twitter about how there was Lacazette was mentioned on Barcelona's shirts, jersey numbers and everything. But a very good player for Barcelona would be Lacazette because Lacazette is the kind of player that Barcelona need. Because I liken Lacazette to what David Villa was. He's a striker, he can finish, but he's very good on the ball. He can dribble, he's very good with his feet. He can play in tight spaces. You can give him the ball to feet and he will be able to do things with it. Which a lot that can't really be said for most strikers, because if you look at an Aguero, a Hurricane, or so forth, they're not really ball-playing strikers. They're not very good adept on the ball, and they can't really do a lot on the ball, bringing it forward, beating men, and weaving through traffic. So, they're really good. But if let's say it's with a see, Coutinho has to go. 100% has to be sold. I think the Cannibal is done. You see, there may be a little bit in the tank from the Cannibal. A little bit in the tank. Coutinho is done. But if it's me, I would, and it looks like, I think the people are saying that they'd rather sign Lacazette than Griezmann. See, if it's me, I get rid of the Cannibal. I even try and sell the Cannibal. I sell Coutinho, I try and sell the Cannibal, and I'm just trying to think about, could Messi be given a different role in this team? I'm trying to think, like, if you give Messi a different role that allows for a front three. Because let's just play a game. Let's say you have Griezmann, Dous, and Lacazette. So you have a French front three. and they have Messi as a playmaker. But the thing though is, then because you then sacrifice the midfield, because you then only have a 2 in midfield, and do you roll, is that a Busquets and an Arthur? And is a Busquets and Arthur enough to keep that midfield alive? It's very difficult. But I suppose if you do that, then that means Barcelona have got to revert back to where they are very good with the possession of the ball. So that puts a lot of pressure on Arthur and Busquets, and with Messi in there, to really be able to hold on to the ball a lot. Because what that does is, because remember, Messi plays the free role a lot, so he's not really restricted. But I think if you now put him in the midfield 3, he has to really hold that midfield down, and he can't really roam as much as he wants to. So that's why it's probably best that he is part of the front three as well. And I think someone has actually mentioned Frenkie de Jong. But I think Frenkie de Jong is probably is going to be a replacement for Rakitic. I think you're going to have a 3 of a de Jong, a Arthur, and a Busquets. I think that's going to be the starting 3. Then maybe Vidal comes in, maybe Rakitic comes in. So yeah, but I think Griezmann, I look at how Griezmann plays, I look at his playing style, and I think that he will be, first of all, he'll protect the ball a lot better, and I think that he will use the ball a lot better. Because again, I look at a lot of the counterattacks that Barcelona had. Whenever they'd fall to Coutinho or that's where they would break down. And Griezmann is a very good player on the counter because he knows how to hold the ball well, protect the ball, and he knows how to make those key passes. He always knows how to make those key passes. So that is what makes him extremely useful. Ouch, my leg. So I expect that to happen. So basically, if you're Barcelona, that has to be a priority. Because let's be real, 100%. Okay, we look back at that Liverpool game. Defensively, Barcelona were shocking. They completely and totally self-destructed. And, people like Piqué, Busquets, and so forth, they have to, and even Alba as well, they definitely made a lot of mistakes that contributed to it. But look, at the end of the day, it's about winning. And there were goals in that game for Barcelona. There were opportunities there. And if that game had Griezmann and the Us, Barcelona scored in that game. Because Coutinho and the Cannibal were atrocious. The Cannibal had a great chance to score. He messed it. He messed it up. And maybe there's something that we have to look at. Maybe after all is said and done is that, okay, he had that season in 2015 with the treble. He had that season, I believe, in 13-14 with Liverpool. How good was Cannibal really overall? How good of a striker was he really? And how clutch was he? How much did he really come big in big games? That's an honest question that we probably have to ask ourselves very soon. But yeah, maybe not now, but very, very, very soon, sometime. So let's move on. Remember, guys, if you need a comment to be read out, you need to ask me a question, a burning question, feel free to use the super chat. You just click on the $sign, donate whatever amount that you feel you can, and it will help with the football hot, and I'll be able to answer your question pronto. So use the super chat to help support your boy Double H. Allegri. So he's out. Allegri's out. Allegri is no longer it has been said that Juventus have announced that Allegri will step down as the coach of Juventus this summer. And you see, Allegri took a lot of heat. Let me get some. Allegri took a lot of heat, and I think people blamed him for the way in which Juventus got pimped out of the Champions League. But was he to blame? Was he to blame? People would say that maybe perhaps okay. These peanuts are amazing. But have more. Coconut peanuts are amazing. So people blamed him as the reason the Juventus lost that game against Ajax. And he definitely deserves some of the blame. Not all of the blame. We need to stop ignoring the blame that players should take. Bonucci was trash in that game. He was trash. And there were a lot of players that underperformed. Now, defensively, Juventus made mistakes. Defensively, they were trash. And Ajax exploited how trash they were defensively. So, what was I saying? So, Allegri leaving now, and I think that, how successful was he? That's an honest question we have to ask ourselves. How successful was he? 2 Champions League final appearances, lost both of them pretty convincingly. And I believe that even if he was able to win 5 Champions League titles in a row, sorry, 5 league titles, what do I say? Even if he was able to win 5 league titles in a row, and that is still impressive because 5 in a row is still 5 in a row. A trophy is a trophy. I really believe that his true victory would have been, I got them to win the Champions League. I managed to win the Champions League with this team. That is what I was able to do. And I think that his inability to do that, I think definitely is going to be something that's going to really hold him back. And I think it's a blip on his resume. Because, trust me, Juventus badly wanted to win the Champions League. And this is what we're even discussing on the hangout. AC Milan are a joke right now. They are nowhere near what they used to be. But a Milan fan can be like, yeah man, Juve fan, it's something now, you've won 8 in a row. We have 7 European Cups, you have 2. And you can jump up and down and kiss the Scudetto as much as you want and say how much you've won as the Scudetto and everything. You want that Champions League. You want it. So, see, for me, I believe that for Allegri, could Allegri ever have won the Champions League with Juventus? No. Because people forget Allegri's tenure at AC Milan. Because remember, Allegri was one of the reasons why... See, Allegri actually began this downward spiral of AC Milan. Because when Ibrahimovic left, I think these guys were almost relegated at one point, and he then left it, and somehow they managed to survive. So Allegri was actually the beginning factor of Milan being as trash as they are. But again, you look at those 2 finals. See, for me, I don't look at the 2015 final, I look at the 2017 final. Nobody was beating that Barcelona team. Because that Barcelona team ran through everybody. And when you have a front 3 like that, that was unbeatable because you had Cannibal at its peak, a hungrier Neymar, and of course you had the Messi. That is the most... Because remember, you went up against the most unstoppable front 3 in football that we've ever seen in the club football history. Because you had the 3 best players in South America all at the front line coming at you. And the funny thing is, did Messi score in 2015? I don't think he scored. I think Neymar and the Cannibal scored. Rakitic scored the first goal, and Neymar and the Cannibal scored the other 2 goals. So yeah, Messi didn't score. I thought Messi scored in 2015. He didn't score. But again, he was very influential in that game. So he was very influential in that game because again, he was playing much more of the creative playmaker role. But I look at the 2017 game because I felt that in 2015, I didn't believe that Juventus were ready for that game, and I didn't believe that Juventus. See, Barcelona were overwhelming favourites in that game, and I didn't feel that Juventus could beat them. But remember, in 2017, that was the period in which, that's the miracle of Camp Nou. The miracle at Camp Nou was in 2017. And Juventus were the team that stopped Barcelona. And correct me if I'm wrong, I think Juventus kept a clean sheet in both legs. I believe they kept a clean sheet in both legs. And in the semi-finals, they were the ones who stopped the marauding young bucks of the extremely talented Monaco team. So coming into that final, I really believe that this was Juve's best chance. Because remember, Real Madrid had defended their title. Nobody believed that these guys are going to win 3 in a row. It's like, it's already amazing that they were defending their title. People are like, these guys are not going to win 3 in a row. So there was an overwhelming belief that this was Juve's year. And when you look at that final, you have to put a lot of that on Allegri, because something happened at halftime. The team that we saw in the first half was not the team that we saw in the second half. It was a completely different team. And they got so ramrodded, destroyed, dismembered, and torn apart and taken apart in that second half that I had to put that on Allegri. Say, bro, you dropped the ball there. So I think that for Allegri, and I think because remember, even coming up before the Ajax game, people were already alluding to the fact that, you know what, yeah, I think that this could be Allegri's final season. I think this could be his last season. They didn't think that he was going to really carry on. So that was already the belief already that this was going to be his last season. So when I think not only of them failing to make the final of the Champions League, not winning the Champions League, is losing to Ajax. And the fact that they lost at home, that they got beaten by a bunch of prospects at home, that was just, I think that was just the thing of like, you know what, let me just ride out the season and I'm done. I don't believe that I have what it takes to pretty much take this team yonder. So with regards to who should be, what's my phone was? Who should be the guy taking over at Juventus? Guys, Uncle Mu. Uncle Mu. Can't we say that it is time for Uncle Mu to return? Because do you want to win? So Juve, do you want to win the Champions League? Let's keep it real. Experience counts for something. Experience counts for something. Allegri never had the experience of winning the Champions League. He never did. He never had the experience of winning the Champions League. Uncle Mu has done it twice with 2 different teams. Because the difference between Mu and Pep is that Pep has won the Champions League twice, but with the same team that had Messi, the best club football player of all time. So if, let's say, you're Juventus, do you choose Mourinho or do you choose Pep if you want to win the Champions League? Forget domestic stuff. That's irrelevant. Juventus's main focus every season has been the Champions League. No one cares how many times you win the Scudetto. Nobody cares. It's a done deal. It is about winning the flipping Champions League. And if it's between Mourinho and it's between Pep, you've got to roll with your boy Mourinho, man. Why do people keep saying Mourinho to Celtic? Mourinho's not going to Celtic. Show some respect for your boy. Mourinho is not sniffing Celtic, so that's not happening, man. Mourinho to Celtic is not happening, so please. So no, yeah. So look. I mean, I think for Juventus, I don't think Mourinho is going to happen. I don't know who they're going to go for. Maybe they'll try and nab a Benitez or something. But I do believe that, unless Juve are crazy, they're definitely going to try and find a manager who has won the Champions League. For sure. Because they won that. And I think that's the whole point of Cristiano coming. Yeah, you can talk about the shirt sales, the merchandising and everything. But I think the key point as to why they brought Cristiano was this is Mr. Champions League who has won the Champions League with 2 different teams. Let's bring the dude. He's won it like 5 times, or 3 or 5 times. So want to bring the dude in. So that I think. So yeah, and also we've had a little bit of Casillas. I want to talk about Casillas. So yeah, I will be doing a video on this for sure, because Casillas is definitely one of the best keepers of his generation, and people will argue that at his peak, definitely one of the best and most influential goalkeepers of all time. So obviously, because of his heart scare that he had, he decided that the best thing to do for his career and for his health is for him to call it a day, professionally. So my thing is that so I think first of all that's a great choice from him, and we'll definitely reflect on Casillas and his career. So this was something I put out on Twitter. Casillas at his peak, where does he rank? Casillas at his peak, where does he rank? Because people have a love affair for Buffon, and I think the love affair with Buffon is specifically his longevity. But let me throw this in there. Did Buffon ever make saves as crucial as Casillas did in our World Cup final in 2010? I believe those saves he made in the 2010 World Cup final heavily contributed to Spain winning that World Cup. And even beyond that, he was making very critical saves. Because the thing about this is that you have to understand. You have to get into the mindset of a goalkeeper. Specifically a goalkeeper who is playing in a team that keeps the ball as much as Spain do. Because that means that your concentration has to be very high. Because if you're a David De Gea and you have a flipping brick of a defense in front of you, you're always getting battle tested all the time. So you're constantly saving shots all the time. And that is difficult in one sense because, man, look at how much I'm having to work. But there is a different difficulty when you only have to make 2 or 3 saves in a game, because your concentration levels have to be very high. And if you're not always battle tested and you're not making constant saves, it can be very difficult to always get your mind trained to be fully attentive and fully concentrative, whenever said things are coming through, So Casillas at his peak, he's definitely up there. Because that's the way. Because whenever I think of great keepers, I think of Kahn, I think of Neuer, I think of Buffon. I never really put Casillas in that category because I feel that Neuer's impact was huge, because he really began and really made the super keeper thing really cool that almost everyone is doing now. Oliver Kahn's leadership and his effect on the team, both as a personality as a keeper, was massive. And I think for Buffon was the kinds of saves he made, the ridiculous saves that he made, his incredible reflexes, and also the dude's longevity. But the issue with Buffon is this. Bro, we have to look at your career. And even if Casillas definitely in his, playing with FC Porto definitely isn't anywhere near the heights of when he was at Spain or Real Madrid, and even at times when he was at the tail end of his Real Madrid career, where he was actually even being booed by his fans, I never believed that Casillas has fallen as low as Buffon has, because Buffon has made some high-profile errors, and that's stunt that Buffon pulled against Man United that contributed to PSG getting knocked out. see, that is why, in my opinion, I say Buffon, bro, retire, bro. Retire. Like, let me see. After you make a mistake like that in that game, and also I think I was watching ESPN FC. Apparently, Areola was supposed to play that game, but I think he arrived late because of traffic, and then he wasn't allowed to play that game, which I think is crazy, because bro, I don't care what Aurelio's late. You don't start Buffon in a game of that magnitude. But I think no, it is definitely a conversation to be had. As like, you know, Casillas at his peak. Where do you put him? Because I don't think a lot of people really put him in the same kind of breadth and category as a Neuer, as a peak Neuer, a peak Can, or a peak Buffon. Because I've always said that every time I'm making my all-star team of all time, the keeper I always pick is Can. You know? And it's weird though, even if I don't call Can the best keeper technically, that I'm looking at Buffon and maybe Neuer, and you can even throw in Schmeichel. If I'm just building a team, this is my team, the team that I want to coach and the team that I think I can will. I pick Can because of not only his skills but his intangibles. I think Can's intangibles were greater than any other keeper in history. You know, and those intangibles are what help you win those games, man. So remember, guys, we're rolling in through last 10 minutes. We are rolling in the last 10 minutes of the stream. Final 10 minutes of the stream. Remember, any questions you need to ask your boy, any comments you want to make, anything you want to ask me, please use the super chats. Please use the super chats. I'll be able to see your question highlighted. And the super chats is what helps to contribute to this channel. You simply just click on the $ in the comments window, choose the donation amount, type in your question, press send, and I'll be able to see it highlighted, and I'll be able to answer your question straight away. And that is what helps to support your boy HH and the channel. So, just wanted to do a bit of house cleaning and some stuff that I've not really viewed about. So, Ziyech, again, he was a trending topic on Twitter that I saw a few hours ago. So, it's happening, man. You know, it's sad, but Ajax are going through their whole Monaco thing that happened in 2017. We believe Frenkie de Jong to Barca is pretty much almost a done deal. De Ligt is either going to be, it's probably most likely Bayern Munich. I think De Ligt is looking at it as a Bayern Munich. But one of the most exciting players, I think, is Ziyech. Ziyech, of course, he plays for Morocco. I believe Morocco are one of the favourites for the African Nations Cup this summer. I think they still have Michael Bay as a coach. They played really well and they were really unlucky in the at the World Cup. They were very unlucky at the World Cup. So Ziyech is leaving, and I think, you know, look, as I said again, a player that's good, he can. That's the weird thing about this. He's a quality player, and I think, you know, what he did against Juventus and what he did against Tottenham was amazing. He just showed this guy's amazing skill, and I even remember Devil from the Football Manager. He was saying to me, you know, yo man, you need to really look at this guy Ziyech. This guy Ziyech is money. I was like, okay, all right. But, and this is what you need to understand, he is quality. He's very good. Doesn't mean that he will fit into every single team. It doesn't mean he will fit into every single team. That's something to be very aware of. It doesn't mean he will fit into every single team. I think he is, for instance, he fits perfectly in how Ajax play. He perfectly fits there. Would he fit Bayern Munich? I don't think so. I think Bayern Munich are looking for different kinds of players. Would he fit Juventus? I don't think so. Would he fit Atletico? I don't think so. I'm not sure that he would fit Barcelona in how they play. That's the kind of player that Real Madrid would really benefit from. I think Ziyech is the kind of player who I can believe will bring a kind of fluidity and magic and movement that Real Madrid would greatly need. And people have been talking about him to Liverpool. You see, I think all Liverpool really need is that attacking midfielder. That's all they need. All they need is that midfielder that breaks from midfield, and that's all. Everything they have is all set in stone. They've got their forward, they've got their flankmen, they've got their wing backs, they've got their DM, they've got their midfield, they've got their defenders, they've got their keeper. All they need is just their attacking midfielder. So when people say Ziyech to Liverpool, where would he fit in? He can't displace Mane. He can't displace Salah. He doesn't play the role of Mimino. He isn't a midfielder. He's much more of a force. So you can't put him in the midfield three. So where would he really fit in? But when I look at, see, just that I don't think that he wants to. But see, Dortmund would be a perfect team for him. Like, he would be perfect for Dortmund. And I just think that's how Real Madrid play. I think he would be perfect for them. I think for Ziyech, I could definitely see him play on one of the flanks. So if we know that Hazard is out left, Jovic is a striker, why can't you put your boy Ziyech wide right? Because beast mode, I don't really know what's holding him. Vasquez is average. Vinicius is still a young buck, and I don't think Vinicius is a bona fide starter. I think Solari was just starting him because everyone else was a brick. I think Vinicius definitely is a guy that's young, then has a lot of grains to do. So I do feel that flank position is somewhere that I think Ziyech can sort of roll with. But I think it gets that Ziyech can he can play as a, okay, he can play as a 10. He can play as a 10. That's interesting. That's interesting. I mean, if he can play as a 10, I suppose that could be I suppose he could fill in that number 10 spot that Liverpool have sort of been trying to plug in. Because even if I think that Naby Keita definitely get there, I suppose he can go there. But if I'm Ziyech, I think he should look at either I think Liverpool, Dortmund, Real Madrid, I think are the three clubs I think he would best fit in. It's a shame that Ajax can't keep him, but I do think that there is a serious player there. I believe that there's a serious player there because from what I saw from him at Ajax, if he makes the right move, I think we're looking at the next African Player of the Year. Because talent-wise, just on pure talent-wise and ability on the ball and what he can do as a footballer, just talent-wise, again, he has to do the games, but also on talent-wise, I'd put him ahead of Salah and Mane, based on footballing ability. Now, Mane can do many things and he's much more effective. Salah is much more effective, and I think effectiveness is very different from your ability. But I just think that, because that's why I'm very excited to see what he does with Morocco this summer. Because I think Morocco are definitely a sleeper team that people should be looking at over there. So, I'm going to talk about Leroy Sané now. So, remember, guys, keep doing your super chats. If you want your comments read, use the super chats. It helps to support your boy, H to the H, half to the hope. Leroy Sané. So, again, I don't know how much this is true, but I want someone to put this out there. Bayern Munich. So Bayern are definitely looking for a revamp, looking to rebuild. Coman is in it. I said that this dude is in it. I said it years ago, and people could say, "Oh no, he can be good." I said, "Nah, I've seen enough of Kingsley Coman to come to the conclusion that he's just not that dude." Gnabry, there's something there. There's something there, but is he ain't no Ribery, he ain't no Robin, and unless Bayern are completely trying to revitalize and rechange their team, I do believe that they're trying to find the replacements for Robin and Ribery, which they haven't done. So that is where your boy Leroy Sané comes in. Now, and this is what I saw. I wrote this in my Patreon blog article, and I said that Sané ain't a bench player, and if you're Bayern Munich, 1,000%, you break the bank for Leroy Sané. Like, I think Bayern definitely needs some bodies, and I think as we go on into the summer and everything, I'll definitely go into a much more detail into what different clubs need. I think Lewandowski is done. I believe that Lewandowski is done. I believe that James Rodriguez, I don't see that fitting in. Is it Javi Hernandez or something? The Spanish DM. I think he may be done there as well. Thiago, unless you're going to give him another midfield part, I think he may be done there as well. So Bayern Munich need a lot of work. There's a lot of work that they need as well. They didn't even replace Bart Simpson. What's it called? Bart Simpson was replaced by that clown. What's his name? Rafinha. But they definitely need bodies. But I think Sané is a very good place to start, because we saw what Sané and Gnabry were able to do when they played against Holland. And that's Euro qualifier. Yeah, sorry, thank you, bro. Javi Martinez. So I think that Sané can give Bayern that oomph of energy that they badly need, because I think what they've been missing is dynamism. some dynamism and some personality from the flank. Without that dynamism and that personality from the flank, I think they have really suffered this summer, and they've not really been able to really get that thing away. So yeah, man, I think for Leroy Sané, man, I just think, look, he deserves first team football. That's what he's about. That's what he should be given, because he's far too good of a player to be on the bench. And for Bayern Munich, who they need quality. They need quality. So I think, again, Bayern are same thing, sort of not to the same degree, because the last time Juve won the competition, I believe, was like in '97. But Bayern Munich have not won the Champions League since 2013. That's a long time for a team of this ilk. So they will definitely be looking to try and win that. So and I think in order to win that, because of their very disgraceful loss and exit to Liverpool, they really badly need that outlet. And I think what's really failed them in both of the legs was the ineffectiveness of Gnabry and Kingsley Coman, specifically Kingsley Coman. So that's a thing to. Oh, sorry, I think somebody mentioned. Oh, sorry, Kimmich. The thing about this is this. Kimmich is a very good right back, very good. I think. But the thing about Kimmich is that he's versatile, and I do believe that Kimmich can probably play in the midfield, probably as a DM, but just much more of an attacking midfield. But I think he would actually be better suited in the midfield, and Bayern should try and find a more natural wing back who specializes in that wing back role. Because then remember, Bart Simpson was obviously moved into DM, but I think Bart Simpson he's fully specialized in that right back role. I don't believe that Kimmich specializes as a right back. I believe that he's a multi-purpose player. You can put him right back, left back, DM, CM. I think I've even seen him played at the central defense as well. So that's huge. So somebody even mentioned what's it called, Hazard, Jovic, and Mbappe. And I think I did like a video on this before, and I'll reiterate it again, man. Mbappe has to leave PSG. I don't know why he's staying at PSG. If Mbappe is smart, and if I'm advising Mbappe, and I think I mentioned this like on a Hangouts, go to Real Madrid to try to dethrone Messi. What challenge do you have at PSG? PSG are never winning the Champions League. That's never happening. Forget that dream. It's never happening. Winning the league on yet again is irrelevant. There's no point. There's completely and utterly no point. But if Real Madrid were to get Mbappe, and they had a front three of Mbappe on one flank, Zad on another flank, and they had Jovic in the striker, that is a very scary front three. Now, obviously, they have to play together, combine well, but that would be a very scary front three. Guys, it's been swell. It's been good. I think I have to now eat now and munch now. I will see you guys perhaps again on Saturday. Remember, Saturday is the FA Cup final. Look, we already know that Watford are going to win. So we already know that Man City are going to win. They're going to beat Watford. So that goes without saying. And I believe it's the final day of the season in the Bundesliga. Penultimate weekend in the Serie A, and I believe it's also the last weekend of the season in La Liga. So there's a lot of play for in La Liga. Getafe and Valencia going for that final spot. In the Bundesliga, look, all Bayern need is a draw, and they're champions. There is no way in hell that Bayern screw that up. So I think Bayern are going to clinch that Bundesliga title. And yeah, I will be back here to react to that stuff. I may be on my Twitch either later on tonight discussing John Wick and the new Batman casting, or I will either be on there either tonight or tomorrow. But it's just look at my Twitter and then you will see. Follow me on Twitch because I talk about films, movies, TV, all that good stuff. Guys, peace out, stay true. Peace.